the art of political dark arts right before your eyes, used by Democrats. But why don't you just walk us through what this all means, what you found, who these players are, and connect the dots to the campaign, the DNC, and to the White House.
Thanks, Sean. So this is basically a first video in a series, a mini-series. It did take us a year to do and produce, of Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee inciting violence at Trump rallies. This is the first topic. Tomorrow we're going to move on to a more sensational topic, but this is pretty bad. They're sending people to events to incite violence, the most disgusting thing you could possibly imagine. They're trying to get people to punch them and to get bloody, and they're going to get that on tape to manipulate the media, and that's exactly what they're saying. This is the Hillary for America campaign, the Democratic National Committee, and third-party operatives, and these are the people you see in the video. People like Bob Kramer, who runs a consulting company in Chicago, who's close to Rahm Emanuel. People like Scott Oval.
By the way, that guy Kramer, wasn't he the one that got 5 months in prison and a year or 8 months,
yeah,
I guess, home confinement?
Yeah, these are bad people with dark souls who've been in trouble with the law before. But Bob Kramer, the man you just mentioned, he's on conference calls at the White House. In fact, he goes to the White House every week. And our undercover investigative reporter was, in fact, invited to the White House. That's how deep this goes. Now, I could physically go into the White House because I would be breaking a misdemeanor law that says you can't enter federal building using false pretenses. But we were on these conference calls at the White House. You can listen to that in the video. It doesn't get any worse than this, folks.
Who is on the other side? Who was on the White House side of the call?
There is a man in the video. If you watch the video, there was one of the people. We're trying to see if we can get them on a Hatch Act violation because they're not supposed to use the official White House resources to promote this thing. But they're on the calls talking about gun control, talking about refugees. The point is, Bob Kramer had a lot of access to the White House, and he speaks with Hillary Clinton's people. He says in the video, in fact, this is Hillary Clinton's idea, some of this, and they contract directly with him. So let me just lay out the players. There's the Hillary Clinton campaign, the Democratic National Committee, and Hillary's super PAC, Priorities USA. This video shows smoking gun criminal evidence of illegal campaign coordination.
You also, one of the things that I think was quite disturbing is you even have people on tape. If people go back to March and remember, Donald Trump was going to give a speech in Chicago and decided because of the police advice that there was too much violence potential there. You have people on this video saying they did that. And one of the things that they are discussing is this diabolical plot all over the country to infiltrate Trump rallies to advance a false narrative that Donald Trump supporters are violent, and meanwhile they're purposely sending people into every one of these rallies with the design purpose to start some type of problem at the rallies and giving them scripts and then bragging that, well, we'll pay for their health care, we'll pay for their lawyers, these young people. I mean, who does that? This is like a Linsky 101.
It's diabolical. Our lawyers saw it. We have like 7 lawyers at Veritus here. You can imagine that. And they all said, this is like Watergate. This is what happens in the video if you're a listening audience. They actually describe, first of all, they say that all the incidents you saw, they're like, that was my guy. In Chicago, and there's a couple instances, Chicago, North Carolina, Iowa, and Arizona. At the Iowa State Fair, where Scott Walker grabs the sign out of the dude's hand, and it gets roughed up, he says, that was us. He says the 69-year-old female protester at the North Carolina rally, where the Washington Post, CNN pushed it as evidence of violence, he says, that was us. Quote, she was one of our activists who had been trained up to bird dog, unquote. That's the quote from the video where the operative describes how it's all a rigged game. And now, today, this is ironic, but the man in the video, one of the dark operatives working for Hillary, his name is Aaron Black. And in fact, today, he tweeted this morning that there's women in front of the Trump Tower this morning holding signs saying Trump demeans women. So what this is, it's illegal because there's illegal campaign coordination, which they acknowledge. They said, quote, I guarantee you the people who run the super PACs talk to each other. So he's describing a crime. And they're also saying something that's so immoral and so unbelievable and such a subversion of democracy. They are literally trying to plant violence at rallies to manipulate the media. And here's the problem, Sean. The media is in on it. So as far as this story goes, I got nowhere to give it to because the media is all indicted. So the grassroots is on fire with it, and to the extent that you can get the video out to your audience, that would be helpful.
Well, I'm doing everything I can do because I found the piece fascinating, and I know that that networks have a very different standard, and as much as they have lawyers and they've got to vet through everything, what they're really saying and what they're really bragging about and calling themselves blanking brilliant is the fact that they are organizing and creating mobs on purpose for the objective of creating a false narrative that Donald Trump rallies are violent, and meanwhile they're starting all of it. They're bragging about their success. They're bragging about the coordination between the DNC and of course, the Clinton campaign. And as you point out, this even goes to the White House. But they even, at one point in the video, you have people saying, oh, yeah, we talk to the DNC every day. We talk to the Clinton campaign every single day. In other words, this is all coordinated. And you even go through where the money comes from and how they literally, basically launder the money to get to these groups and pay these black ops people.
It's unbelievable. Let me read another quote from Bob Creamer. This is the man married to Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, visits the White House, is on conference calls with the White House and the Hillary campaign. He said, quote, this is in the video, quote, I'm a consultant to the Clinton campaign. Wherever Trump or Pence go, we make sure that there are events in the TV market or wherever. So he's legally coordinating with the campaign because he works with a nonprofit organization. Nonprofits and super PACs are not supposed to coordinate, and this is smoking gun. So he says it's approved by Hillary through the chain of command. And this man, so your audience understands, this is not a low-level person. This is not an Acorn employee. They don't get any bigger. This is the political operative in Chicago describing how the game works, and it's such an indictment of the system. And I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, the quote after quote after quote, the dark money conspiracy.
Well, here's how the money goes. You describe it, the rapid response money, as they call it, for the dark arts, and the campaign pays the DNC. The DNC pays Democracy Partners. Democracy Partners pay the FOVO group, and they execute all of this on the ground. So basically, it's just the money flows right to them directly from people that know that it's happening. How did you get these guys to brag